Now, in other news, the Human Rights Commission says racism-related complaints top the list of grievances it deals with. Earlier, it made public its trends analysis report. eNCA's Govan Whittles has been tracking that story for us. All right, Govan, so racism complaints at the top of the list there. The other important issue for the Human Rights Commission is just the issue of awareness, whether people really know about the work that the Human Rights Commission in South Africa does.
Yeah, that's right, Michelle. And this year we had 486 race-based complaints to the Human Rights Commission. That's down slightly from 505 last year. But what the Commission essentially says is that they think what we're seeing is more reporting of racism and not necessarily more racism in society. In terms of actual awareness and being able to reach the community so that they know where to go for these complaints, the Human Rights Commission has just signed a memorandum of understanding with the Public Protector as well as the South African Police Service. And we've just learned that they've signed an agreement with the Basic Education Department to make a human rights competition compulsory in grade 10 or 11 from next year. So they hope that that will increase awareness about the Commission. But of course, the actual awareness of it is reflected in the provinces where human rights violations are reported. This year, the Gauteng province once again topping the list of the number of race-based concerns where it comes from. And second, KwaZulu-Natal, that jumped from 50 to over 160. So that's a huge jump for KwaZulu-Natal, and they also think that's because of that Vicky Momberg case, which received a whole lot of attention and essentially let South Africans know what they can do and what kind of redress is available. But more importantly, the Human Rights Commission today saying that their decisions, their findings are all binding, and they're hoping that because of the Vicky Momberg case, they would now move to a space where South Africans would realize that once the Human Rights Commission makes a finding against you, it's binding, and you could end up in court or even spending time in jail because they are working closely with the Equality Court to address this racism.
Now, Govan, for people for whom this is a lived reality, this will come as no surprise, but it is sort of jarring hearing the Human Rights Commission say it out loud again. The fact that it reports also shows that the spectre of apartheid still looms large, and this is a quote from that report, casting a long shadow.
Yeah, that's right, Michelle. And essentially, the Commission has found that the most vulnerable people in South Africa that are facing discrimination are often those who have overlapping attributes, such as being black and being disabled. In those cases, we're finding that those are the type of people that are most vulnerable. But the Commission saying that the statistics are undeniable, that black people are routinely and frequently being discriminated against on the basis of race. And they hope that over the next 2 years and 3 years, when they make more inroads into rural communities and increase awareness, they would be able to increase the number of actual reportage to the Commission and thus get a clearer picture of the extent of racism in South Africa. What we've had since this Commission started releasing the Trends Analysis Report in 2013 is an increasing number of complaints about racism, and that has coincided, the Commission says, with the general awareness about the work of the Commission. So for the next 2 years, they're hoping to continue that, and possibly within the next 3 years, we should have a complete picture of the extent of racism. As you would notice, rural areas in provinces such as Mpumalanga, the Eastern Cape, the Free State, and the Northwest don't feature highly in this report, but we know for a fact that those are the places where incidents of racism are frequently reported, and so the Commission hopes to make inroads into those provinces and get a more complete picture of whether or what the extent is of racism in South Africa.
Yeah, that speaks to the issue once again, just of reach and of awareness. Just before we let you go, Govan, what does the Human Rights Commission say is its goal in terms of increasing that reach and awareness? What do they do to make that a reality?
Yeah, so the Human Rights Commission has offices in each of the province. They have one provincial office as it stands, but essentially they're trying to increase that reach and awareness through these memorandums of understanding with the Public Protector, with the police, and with the Basic Education Department. But of course, we know that after the Constitutional Court ruled last year that the Public Protector's findings are binding, the Human Rights Commission decided that it would also adopt that approach. So within the next coming months, months. The CEO has said that we're likely to see the Human Rights Commission approaching the court more often, making use of the alternative dispute mechanisms, but also trying to create more public awareness in terms of which sanctions are applicable. And this extends beyond racism. The Human Rights Commission actually saying that it believes when it tells the government that there's sewage that's spilling next to a school and the government doesn't clean it up, they should be empowered to go to court and force the government to do that. So that's the direction that the Commission hopes to take its investigations. And we've seen some evidence of this. Of course, they're currently heading to court with Edward Zuma because he admitted to hate speech and apologized, but he has not paid the entire fine. So that will be one of the more prominent cases which will feature in the next coming months.
All right, well, thanks very much for that update. Our reporter Govan Whittles there speaking to us just a couple of hours after the Human Rights Commission released its trends analysis report.